Hello and welcome to Energizing Habits, simple strategies for a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. I'm your host, Vicki Cleary, and I guide ambitious women just like you to find more focus, more energy, and more productivity so they can thrive, whether it's in business or in life, all by tapping into sustainable habit change around nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management. Are you ready? Here we go.
Hello. What's going on? Well, for me, I have to tell you that I've actually been pondering this episode for several days in terms of how best to deliver it. It's so easy to get caught up in thinking about something, right? And then you kind of spin and don't actually take action. So we're taking action today. We're just going to record this episode, and here we are. So we actually have a pretty exciting week for our household. So our daughter is racing in her first indoor track meet. It's also the last indoor track meet of the season, but it's because this is her first meet after the stress fracture. So I can't tell you how proud I am of her overcoming the injury and wanting to get out and compete again. So it's pretty exciting to watch. And also, it means that regular track season is just around the corner. So that'll be even more excitement as we get going into the spring. But it's also been a busy week for us, and it's causing some late bedtimes. I always find it interesting, like, when you get going on habit consistency and you're starting to feel really good because you are being consistent in whatever habits you are. When you fall back into the old habit that were causing you to feel not so good, it's interesting how much more easily identifiable that gross, negative, yucky feeling is, right? For me, it's sleep. And so I have been really trying to hit hard on getting the right amount of sleep so that I can feel energized, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed. But this week has been kicking my butt a little bit. And so, I do feel tired, right? I notice it through the workday. I notice it as it comes to bedtimes, like more tired. And sometimes you get that like tired but wired because you have all the stuff you want to do. But I feel like I'm getting into that tired but wired because I'm trying to get stuff done, but also I'm just tired. So I share that story with you. I share that's where I'm at. That's real, right? But also because it fits so well into what I want to talk to you about today. And that is the challenges, in fact, 15 challenges that ambitious professionals face on their way to success, specifically around their health and wellness. So a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, episode 23, if you haven't watched it, want to go back and watch, I shared why I became a healthy lifestyle coach. It had a lot to do with getting burned out, also my desire to want to help others, and then help others to not also burn out or to get out of burnout or avoid burnout. And then last week, episode 24, also, if you haven't listened, it'd be a good one. I shared my approach to a holistic, healthy lifestyle and how my 6 focus areas help you feel better, have more energy, more focus, and of course, be more productive. Now, if you missed either of those, go check them out. They both relate to today's episode. Because again, last week we talked about, the focus areas, my journey as a healthy lifestyle coach, but also today we're going to zoom in to some specific challenges that are faced by what I call ambitious professionals, right? We're the go-getters navigating, the dance between successful career and life. You might have family, you might have a side business, you might be an entrepreneur. There might be lots of things factoring into what you have going on, but how do you also find the time for your health, for your wellness, right? So that you can feel good, so you can feel energized. The light was a little hot, so I had to take it down. So I think this is a better balance. All right. So let's get into it, right? I've pulled out 15 challenges that we face. There's probably more. that would require a longer episode. So we're going to stay with the 15. And with each of these, I thought I would share, like a quick tip. I mean, there's lots of tips that I could give for each of those, to be honest, but I'll share just one for each of these challenges. And I'll also share how my coaching helps to mitigate these challenges, right? I think that this is an interesting thing to see. Okay, if I'm facing a challenge, how can someone else help me? How can coaching help me? And specifically, maybe how can I help you? Uh, so as you listen along, think about like, am I facing this challenge? What's the tip? How can I use it? And maybe how can coaching help me through this challenge, right? So let's get in. So the first one is time constraints. Busy professionals never have enough time, right? Time is a precious commodity for everyone, but also for those who are extra busy because we never seem to have enough. So our work and our life activities often lead to packed schedules, right? And the challenge of finding pockets of time for new habits without feeling overwhelmed is certainly real, right? How do I have time to start a new habit? How do I have time to journal when I barely have time to get my assignments done or to have, all the meetings that have to happen? So get it, right? So my tip here, again, there's numerous tips in each of these, but I'm just sharing one, is to prioritize your tasks using an Eisenhower matrix. And so, think of um, a crosshairs like a 4-quadrant setup. Google it, right? It's probably the easiest way. But there's 4 quadrants, and you can decide like what to delegate, um, what to put first, what can wait, what you just not do. With some things you just don't need to do. They're on your list, but really, you don't need to do them. And also based on like what's urgent, what's important, right? So check that out if you're feeling that you don't tend to have enough time. And time constraints for me helps or falls under the what I call the workflow and productivity focus area. Also, sleep and stress management. So, there's something in all of those focus areas that actually help with you feeling constrained in time. And so, in the Energy to Thrive project, uh, the coaching membership, we explore time management strategies tailored to your busy lifestyle and helping you carve out time for self-care, right? All the things you should do for your well-being um, amidst your hectic schedule. So we find ways to work it in. And usually it starts really small. We're not just saying like, hey, here's a big hefty meal plan that you should go do that's going to require a lot of cooking every night. You don't have time to cook every night, right? So that's number one, time constraint. The second one is overwhelm. They go hand in hand, really. Is if you're short on time, you're pretty likely to feel overwhelmed. When you're juggling multiple responsibilities, it can lead to overwhelm, leads to stress, leads to an impact in your mental clarity, you're being able to focus. So again, you can feel that struggle in trying to be able to do these things when you just have this pressure of overwhelm sitting over you. And then layer on top of that, your well-being, like more habits, like more to-dos, more things, right? So my tip here for the overwhelm is practicing some simple mindfulness techniques, such as deep breathing, like literally close your eyes and just focus on 10 deep breaths. It takes less than a minute, to be honest. You could even try meditation, 1 minute meditation. You can start building up as you go. All of these help to calm the mind during stressful moments. And so when you're feeling that sense of overwhelm, it can just help balance you out a little bit. And overwhelm for the way that I coach, right, fits into stress management and mindset work that we do. So in the Energy to Thrive project, we incorporate stress management techniques like the breathing and also some mindfulness practices to help you regain focus and clarity amidst all the things you've got going on. All right. The third challenge is inconsistent habits. And again, this feeds into time constraints and probably feeling overwhelmed because with a bustling life, establishing consistent routines it's just a challenge, right? It's again one more thing to think about. So how can we as ambitious professionals ensure that our habits stick? even with, maybe your schedule's constantly changing. How can you always do something at noon when you might have a meeting show up? So this is a common hurdle faced by many, especially when you're a professional trying to do all these things. But also everybody tends to face inconsistent habits in the pursuit of a healthy lifestyle. So the tip here is to start small and focus just on one habit at a time, right? You gradually build, you gradually layer on over time. You wait, practice the one until you're really good at it, and then try the next one. And by being able to focus on the one thing, that sets you up for better success to actually integrate the habit. Now, inconsistent habits fall under mindset and also my workflow and productivity focus areas. So in my coaching, I actually provide accountability, support, and guide you through the process of habit formation and helping you stay on track even when life gets unpredictable. I can't tell you how many times I've had to reschedule my workouts because of work meetings, of things coming up, or things that I simply forgot about that needed to happen. Workout is just one thing that I've had to, refigure around. So it is possible. And yes, it does take a little bit of thought and planning. But again, it's all doable. And of course, that's why I'm here to support you. Which gets into the next one, actually. And that is the next challenge is feeling a lack of support. So, imagine feeling isolated on your journey. It can be hard when you're the only one trying to hold yourself accountable, trying to figure out all the things that you should be doing or that you want to be doing, how to fit them in. So we need a supportive network of like-minded individuals, right? If you are an ambitious professional, you probably want to be with some other ambitious professionals who are going through the same thing. Not to say that you couldn't find a great network with, let's say, a stay-at-home mom, right? They just face their challenges a little bit differently. And so finding that I just want to make sure that that's clear, that that's not a knock against stay-at-home moms. It's just saying that there's some differences in the way in which your lifestyles happen, right? Just want to make sure that's very clear. But again, you could also find some similarities. You could also find a great support network with opposite type people, but also with like-minded people. So building this network is a vital aspect when it comes to overcoming challenges and also in fostering resilience. So the tip here is to seek out networking events, online communities, mentorship programs, connect with peers who understand your journey, or find a coach who resonates with you. The focus areas here are mindset. Really, it's mindset. It's feeling supported in what you're doing, right? And so the coaching that I offer it creates a safe space for you filled with encouragement, accountability, and learning, right? So it's not just about going off and trying to do stuff. If something doesn't work, let's talk about why. Let's understand it so that we can improve for next time. Okay, so challenge number 5, information overload. All right, if you Google anything about health and wellness, I don't even know how many pages you would find in your search. There are so many things across all the different spectrums of health and wellness. And it can lead to information overload, right? There's too much to try to figure out when you are also already overloaded with work, with life, with things. So it can cause some decision paralysis or analysis paralysis. And it can be a struggle just sifting through all that noise and identifying what is most relevant for you, and what could be most effective, right? So it's one thing to just like randomly pick something to try, which is fine and dandy. But what if you could find something that was a little closer to the target? It just helps with the time savings a little bit in getting there. You need to pause for a quick drink. All right. So again, it can be a struggle to sift through the noise. Now, here's just the greatest example, right? Think about all the various dieting strategies that are out there. And how do you know which one you need to follow for what you're looking for? Energy? Are you trying to um, have a clear mind, right? And there's a lot of diet strategies, good diet strategies, but different ones that can also help across all these different things. But how do you know which one to start with? How do you know which one will work for you? How do you know which one is going to be easier to execute amidst your schedule and all the things you have going on, right? So there's a lot to consider there. So the tip here is to limit your sources of information and focus on trusted sources that align with your goals and values. So that is so key, to align with your goals and values, because to find some strategy that, well, let's say that you found a meal plan or some dieting strategy to stay with that theme, that is like a bunch of meat every week. And let's say you're trying to be more leaning towards vegetarian or pescatarian or something to that effect. So it's not aligning with your value. And, that could be for any number of reasons why you're trying to reduce your meat. But now if you're finding a diet that adds all this meat, doesn't quite align, it's going to be a challenge for you to kind of work through and reconfigure things and the whole bit. So information overload is addressed by my focus areas of workflow and productivity, and also mindset. And I like to provide personalized guidance. So we take a look at what your situation is, and I'm not going to just throw a bunch of things at you. I'm going to provide some curated resources to help you navigate that, through that abundance of information. We'll talk through it, see how it can work for you. This way you feel equipped with the most relevant and effective strategies for your journey. So I offer a framework in which we can explore. And like I said, there are, even just for these 15 challenges that we face, there are numerous ways that you can address them. There's a framework, but we're not just going to try to go through each one. We're going to try to find a more personalized approach. I don't like a prescriptive approach. It's not like, here are the 10 things that you're going to do. Go off and do them. Let me know how you feel. No. What is it where you're at? What's going to work for you that we can at least have a starting point and measure from? Okay, I digress. Sustainability is challenge number 6. And of course, ambitious professionals need habits, which goes along with what I've been saying already, I think. We need habits that seamlessly fit into our lifestyles. So that we want to strike a balance between dynamic routines and sustainable changes, right? We want things to be able to be flexible, but also we've got to be sustainable, things that we can repeat over and over again. Now, when you incorporate new habits, new routines, new ways to eat, to move, etc., the process, as you work through that process, you're going to have some struggles. But when you find the right habit that is working for you, it won't be a struggle every day, right? It will get better and better and better. If you feel like you're struggling and struggling and struggling and struggling, that version of the habit or that habit in general maybe isn't for you, right? So my tip here is to focus on habits, especially when you're starting out. Focus on habits that are enjoyable, and again, that align with your values, because that's what's going to make it easier to maintain them over time. So when it comes to sustainability, sustainable habit change, what I normally say, the Energy to Thrive project actually helps we emphasize sustainable lifestyle change. And I help you cultivate habits that are realistic, that are enjoyable, and then maintainable for long-term success. Challenge number 7 is your inner critic. How we talk to ourselves sometimes, right? Negative self-talk impacts your confidence. And the battle with imposter syndrome, it came up in multiple conversations this week that I've had in various settings, this imposter syndrome and our confidence levels. Being able to embrace our journey with self-assurance is so needed, yet so many of us struggle with it, right? So my tip here is practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself, and challenge negative thoughts with evidence-based affirmation. So I like to say evidence-based because it's got to be something that you believe. It's got to have some negative truth in there for you to truly latch on to that affirmation, to that feeling, so that you can carry it forward, right? Now, I like to, focus area. Almost forgot I skipped ahead. So, the focus area when it comes to your inner critic is your mindset, also stress management. And I provide tools and techniques in both of these areas to help you cultivate a positive mindset, to help overcome self doubt, and to empower you to navigate challenges with confidence and resilience. Challenge number 8, energy slumps. I can't tell you how many times I have had, like, literally, I feel like my body was on a clock because it, like, l on the same time, 3 like, the 3 o'clock energy slump, somehow it was hitting me every day at 3 o'clock. And you get that midday crash, and you're just like, "Where's my energy? Why is it tanked?" But having those midday crashes, whether it's 3 o'clock or some other time, like, they really do impact when you're trying to get work done. They impact your productivity. They impact when you want to go home and spend time with your family or do things, right? Maintaining consistent energy throughout the day is a common goal across, all kinds of professionals. But of course, it is a challenge when you are navigating a demanding role. So here, prioritizing sleep hygiene and incorporating short breaks for movement will help combat fatigue. So, like every hour, like do some kind of a stretch, get up and take a quick lap around the office, or around the hallways or something. Getting plenty of sleep every night. So the focus areas are nutrition, movement, sleep. All of those really help to combat energy slumps. And the Energy to Thrive project actually offers, again, numerous strategies. We cultivate it, we curate what you need for optimizing your energy levels, which again includes your sleep hygiene and includes nutrition guidance, like what kinds of foods to avoid, what kinds of food should I add in, how do I regulate my blood sugar, but also some movement plans to help you stay energized and focused throughout the day. Challenge number 9, balancing work and life. I know. I started to say integrating work and life, right? Work-life integration, because this idea that life and work are somehow completely separate. It's not, right? We live in that life, we work, we do other things. So I like the idea of integration. But I mentioned it on the last episode as well, so you can go back and listen to that one too and hear about work-life integration. But striking a balance, of course, among all the things that you've got going on. If you think of your life as a pie, you might have seen that wheel of life or the pie of life with all these different slices. Having balance is not easy. And in fact, I'm not even sure it's fully possible. There's always something, right? You can't focus on all the areas at one time. So there's always something that's getting a little bit more piece of your pie. Navigating the time that you use at work, at home, ensuring that you have energy to use when you want it, it's an ongoing challenge. And like, think about how many times you've gotten home from work and you just wanted to take a nap, or when you've been at work and wanted to take a nap, or maybe you just wanted to veg on the couch, right? Just chill out for a bit. So my tip here is to set boundaries between your work and your personal time, and schedule a dedicated time for relaxation and activities out of work. Here, the focus areas that help address this are mindset and workflow productivity, right? If you can be more productive at work in your designated work times, right? Like, you can get your stuff done, check the box. And I say check the box, and like you're just checking a box at work. But for those things that you need to get done, you want to be able to check those off your list. You want to be able to cross them out. You don't want them to linger to the next day if you don't have to. So when you can improve your productivity, it makes those work days so much more efficient and effective. And I like to coach, I like to provide strategies for work-life integration, right? Which is why workflow and productivity is one of my 6 focus areas. So I help you prioritize self-care and your personal well-being while still achieving success in your career. And even if you want to be an entrepreneur, or if you are an entrepreneur, or maybe you're doing both, right? Like we want to be able to have the energy. We want to be able to find some level of balance. And again, it may not be a perfect, evenly sliced pie. All right. Challenge number 10, setting boundaries. So saying no is a skill that can be tough, but it is necessary. When you don't have boundaries, the line between work and life, so again, back to that work-life integration, that line gets out of whack even more. And then your stress levels go up and all the things, right? So strong boundaries and the ability to communicate them is key for energy management. So my tip here is to practice assertive communication and prioritize your own needs when setting boundaries with others. So focus areas that help this challenge are stress management, workflow and productivity, and also mindset. And so my coaching offers guidance and support in setting and maintaining boundaries, empowering you to advocate for yourself and to create a healthier balance between your professional and your personal life. Challenge number 11, measuring progress. So quantifying progress can sometimes be challenging, right? When you're tracking your journey, the key thing that I always find is celebrating your small wins. It's like we all want to be successful. We all want to see like the fruits of our labor, right? And so my tip here is using SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, right? You know the drill. Because it gives you clear objectives and gives you something to track effectively, track your progress effectively. So when it comes to measuring progress, mindset and workflow productivity, the focus areas that tend to help there, but also measuring progress helps any area that you are working on. Now, as a coach, I provide a goal setting framework and accountability to help support you, to help you measure your progress, and to also help celebrate your achievements, which is what helps keep you motivated and focused on your journey to success. All right, challenge 12, external pressure. We do a lot of our own internal pressures, but there also are a lot of external pressures, societal, professional. Another drink break. All of these pressures are leading to burnout. They're leading to excessive stress, high stress, whatever you want to call it. Over time leads to burnout if not managed effectively, right? So you've got enough to deal with your internal pressures, all the things you're telling yourself, but then you layer on all these external things. It could be family, again, societal, professional. The tip here, clear boundaries. So these are all kind of starting to feed into each other. So you can kind of start to see it's like this interwoven system. And so once you start cracking one of these habits, the dominoes start to fall a little bit better, but it's getting through those challenges to begin with. So again, okay, I digress. Clear boundaries between work and personal life can prevent burnout. And that doesn't mean that we're not trying for work-life integration. We're saying that you can be integrated, you can have things, you can check some emails in the evening, but also there's got to be some boundaries. I'm not checking emails at 10 o'clock at night, for instance. So there's a little delineation there, but again, having the clear boundaries can help alleviate some of these pressures, especially when you've communicated them. All right, mindset and stress management are the focus areas here that can help. And in the Energy to Thrive project, I share strategies to manage external pressures and help you navigate expectations and prioritize self-care for sustained success. And again, it all comes back to these things being so interwoven. Once you start working on one thing, you're going to find the ripple effect. Okay, 13, challenge number 13 is seeing a lack of consistent results, right? And when you don't see the results, when you're not seeing the results consistently, I suppose, uh, your motivation tends to wane, right? Especially if you're not seeing results immediately. We're kind of wired anymore to want to see things quickly. We want it, we want answers now, we want results now. And when you don't see them, what do? Right? Do we give up? Do we just like, I don't know. So when it comes to sustainable habit change, you might not see results right away. In fact, you probably won't. When you're doing breathing exercises on a daily basis, it might take a bit for you to actually really start to notice your stress levels go down, to notice that you're not living up in your shoulders and that you're feeling a little bit better. But it takes time. And a lot of it, some of it is because we get our stress levels so high, it takes time to bring them down. And some of it is that it's just some of these habits that we're practicing so small so that we can really make sure we do them, that it takes just more time for you to see the results. Anyway, this may make you feel discouraged, make you want to give up on your goals. So the tip here is focusing on the process, right? You know what the process is, whatever the habit is that you're integrating, and then small wins. You've got to celebrate these small wins, right? Hey, I did my practice 5 days this week. You may not fully feel results yet, but you did the thing, and that is worth celebrating. And that is what over time is going to get you there, not by giving up, right? So focus on your small wins. And then again, understanding that lasting change takes time. So the focus area here is mindset, because you really have to stay with it. You really have to get out of your head about it and not focus on the immediate results. So as a coach, I'm intentional about emphasizing progress over perfection. So it takes time to build consistency too, right? But also providing support and guidance through your journey so that you can work towards consistent and sustainable habits, consistent and sustainable results. Challenge number 14 is the mindset shift, right? Adopting a growth mindset and embracing change can be challenging, especially if you've been stuck in certain habits for a long time, in certain habits, in certain thought patterns. And to that end, if you believe that you can't be successful and healthy at the same time, that is a mindset, that's a belief that can certainly be changed. It certainly is something that can hold you back, because if you don't believe that you can have both, then it's going to be a struggle every day. So the focus area when it comes to a mindset shift is the mindset focus area. And with the Energy to Thrive project, we offer this mindset shifting techniques and support to help you embrace change, to help foster a positive and resilient mindset for your long-term success. Okay, challenge number 15, the final challenge for this list. Finding strategies that align with your unique preferences and needs takes some trial and error, right? The challenge goes with a lack of time and overwhelm, which were right at the top of the list, okay? Who has time to research, to try a whole bunch of things, see what works, what didn't? However, when you can think about this, it's the journey is the process is the journey, right? The healthy lifestyle is the journey. It's not the end point, right? Because you're never going to get to a point where it's like, oh, I'm here, I've arrived, here's my healthy lifestyle. There's always things that you'll be improving, that you're learning from, right? So it's the process. And part of that process is experimentation. But it doesn't have to be a big experiment. It's making small adjustments to find what works best for you and considering your preferences, your individual needs, right? How something feels as you're doing it. So I firmly believe, and this comes through in my coaching, but I firmly believe in the power of trying something, learning, adjusting, fine tuning these habits for yourself. I want to reiterate here that I offer a framework in which we can explore, right? Again, so many habits under these umbrellas that relate to these challenges that fall under the focus areas. We don't have to do them all. Not all of them are going to work for us, at least at certain points in our life. So it's not about having this prescriptive approach. It's about finding where you are right now, what makes sense to start with, and then learning as we go. So I help you discover and implement these strategies that align with your unique preferences, your needs. This helps to ensure lasting success. Phew. Okay. There you go. 15 challenges that ambitious professionals face on their road to success. So let me ask, how many of these 15 are you facing? I related each of these challenges back to the coaching that I do with ambitious professionals through the Energy to Thrive project. This is my 3-month one-on-one coaching membership that gives you weekly coaching sessions where we talk through these challenges and we work through the experimentation, right? The what's working, what's not working. You get access to my master classes, my group programs, and I even have a full resource vault with all kinds of things, not to overwhelm you, right? And so it's more about how do we curate these things for you, but there is a resource vault that you have access to. Now, if you're facing any of these 15 challenges that I mentioned, or any others that you feel relate, and you think that coaching could be your next step, let's talk. I would love to chat with you about what challenges you're facing um, and to learn about you. And we can discuss how the program could work for you, or maybe it won't. You never know. But it's a great little opportunity to have a conversation and see what your next step is. And sometimes even just that consultation helps bring clarity for someone who has been kind of like in the state of overwhelm, in the state of like, I'm not really sure. So I'm going to put the link to schedule this, let's call it an energy consultation, but really we're just going to talk about what you feel like your needs are and whether or not the Energy to Thrive project is your next step. Now, let's talk about your energizing habit to help you take action. So out of the 15 challenges that I mentioned, pick one that you are facing. And then the tip that I paired with it, try that tip. It might be a one-time thing. It could be something that you're going to have to maybe practice for a week and see how it feels. Either way, evaluate the results, right? That's part of that experimentation. What did you notice? What did you find? Did you like it? Did you feel good? Did you feel anything? So understanding that, and then is that something that we continue, right? Which is always the next step. Do we continue working on that habit? All right, friends. So that's what I have for you today. If you found this episode helpful, I would love to hear from you. Do me a favor, like the episode, take a screenshot, and tag me in your Instagram stories at Uplift Healthy Lifestyle. I would love to hear how these challenges resonate with you, how maybe the tips or how maybe some of my coaching might be able to help you on your health and wellness journey. So have an energized day.